I just realized that my audio won't pick it up either, so I don't know why I played it. I'm going to have to put it in afterwards. So hi, everyone. Oh, man. Welcome. Oh, boy. It's going to be one of those episodes, folks. Welcome to the Is This Love podcast, where we discuss and talk about the weird and wonderful world of love and relationships. I am Francis, a.k.a. The Other Guy, and with me, as always, is Miss Sara Nade. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Francis.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Memorial Day. It's a 3-day weekend.
It is. Instead of us barbecuing and putting stuff on a grill, we're talking into a microphone.
We are. It's actually kind of soggy over here, so not a lot of barbecues.
Oh, yeah, no. Today, parks were full. There were just tons of people at parks. I went out to do some grocery shopping today, and people were out and about, excited to celebrate today and in remembrance of our fallen veterans. So it's a somber day, but also a day to kind of enjoy the beginning of summer, essentially, right? Like that's pretty much this kind of marks the beginning of summer, and we're going to get into the hot season. Yeah, so I don't know. Exciting, I guess. I'm not a fan of summer. I hate heat. I am in the wrong state because I do not like to be hot. Yet here I am in Southern California, allowing myself to be as hot as possible.
Yeah, it gets hot down there.
It does, yeah. But luckily, we don't have to worry about it because we have heat wave and energy crises everywhere and a drought here in California. So, woohoo! All that good stuff. Oh, man. But beside that, how's everything else going on your end?
It's good. Yeah, it's going to get a little bit nicer this week. I think we don't usually have, like, consistently super nice hot weather until usually after the 4th of July. But yeah, with all the weather and wonderful climate stuff happening, we had a big heat wave up here in the Northwest last summer in June. So yeah, things are changing.
Things are changing. And also with the summer, though, and with all the heat, is the excuse to go to movie theaters and watch the big blockbuster films. And I don't know if that's something you do at all.
I'm still a little bit like paranoid about just like sitting in an enclosed space with everyone just breathing. I can't believe that's like a thing you think about now, but you know, I mean, coming in and out of stores is like feels different for some reason.
No, I understand. I've been doing it for a while, so it's a little different for me. I've been in crowded areas and I went to a convention a few weeks ago where, you know, masks weren't required, so people were breathing on each other everywhere. And I didn't get any con crud, which is something I normally don't get. I have a weirdly good immune system. I don't get sick that often, knock on wood. But I went to the movie theaters over the weekend. I saw the big hit. The Tom Cruise epic, Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, how was it?
Well, so I thought it was going to be terrible because the first Top Gun. Okay, have you seen Top Gun? Have you seen the first Top Gun?
Oh my gosh. You know, I'm not even 100% sure that I've seen the whole thing in order in one sitting, but like I've definitely seen lots of parts of it when I was little.
Yeah. Well, so Top Gun is it's an interesting movie in the sense it's an action movie of the 80s. And they upgraded it for the 2022s, I guess. And it was I loved it. I thought it was very entertaining, a lot of fun. But mostly what I got out of it was everyone went out to the movies. I was in a packed theater. I was elbow to elbow, which I hate.
Oh my gosh.
I love the days of kind of not post-COVID in the sense of people were able to go back to these things, but people were still too scared to go into movie theaters. I miss those days because then I had room. I could lay out. Yeah. I could lay down on 3 chairs and be like perfectly fine and like nobody cared. Not that I did that or anything. But now everyone is like, yes, let's go back to the movies. And so everyone back to the movies. And I'm like, oh man, I'm elbow to elbow with people. Oh, this sucks. It's not even like the COVID part that I'm worried about. It's just like, I gotta, like people. I hate so, That's really more my like my hang up is just being around people. So anyway.
Well, for me, yeah, and then added to that, like, intense germophobia. It does sound really horrible hearing you describe it. So
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time. I loved it. But I'm in the sense of I got like what I like about the bad side is, yeah, you're surrounded by people. The good side is, for me personally, and nobody else seems to get this, is you get the energy of the crowd. So if you're in a good movie where it's funny or it's powerful or energetic or exciting, everyone gets excited. Everyone starts cheering or laughing or whatever, and you get into it, and it's like it improves the movie going experience. But yeah, you have people.
That's true. That's true. It is kind of fun to like have that whole room full of people in all the same moods at the same time, with how the movie's twisting and turning, and it makes it a lot more exciting. But I haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, and there's no rush really. This stuff goes to streaming pretty quickly. I mean, I don't see a reason. I personally just like going, because I did that during my 10 years of being single and not being around people. I spent those 10 years going to movies alone a lot. And so I watched a movie every week for pretty much that whole 10 years, for the most part. And that was like how I communed with other people. That's like, oh, I mean, I don't know who any of you guys are, but we're doing something together, and that's kind of cool. Anyway, excuse me while I open this Nitro Pepsi Draft Cola. I'm getting my groceries. I'm like, oh, why is this thing by itself? And I look at it, it's like Draft Cola. Nitro.
What does that mean?
So apparently it's a smooth, creamy, easy to drink Pepsi where you can pour hard and drink easy. I guess it's like a beer, but in soda form.
What?
I don't know. It's really strange. It's even in a tall can, like a beer. It says chill can, pour hard, admire and enjoy. I'm not going to put it into a glass. I'm going to sip it from the source, but let's see if it has that because it's nitrous. So I'm curious if it has that satisfying hiss that comes with these drinks. So let's see here. Ooh. Whoa. Oh, jeez.
A few moments later.
So I just opened the can once I said nitrous, I opened the can and, essentially poured soda all over my. Because I'm like, let's see if it has that sound, and it recorded the sound of the because nitrous has a weird sound when you open a can of nitrous beverages, and it had that sizzle and that pop and everything, and then it proceeded to overflow and
oh my god,
and erupt everywhere. In which I have like a nest of wires down here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, go ahead and pour all over my my wires here, all over my surge protector. Yeah, just drown it in soda. That's cool. So. Oh gosh. That's
okay. Well,
it's
sorry.
All clean. It's all clean though.
Okay, y'all good?
I'm good. The worst part is, I'm anticipating, deliciousness and flavor, and it just tastes like flat soda.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is disappointing after all that buildup.
Yeah, like, it's not as carbonated. It tastes like it's expired.
The delicious flavor of expired.
Like, is it? Hold on, let me double check here. Oh, man, I can't tell. No, September 2022. It seriously, it tastes like, okay, so when it has all that fizzle, it has all that sizzle when you open it up. But when you sip on it, yeah, it's easy to chug because it tastes like syrupy no carbonation. There's so little carbonation in this drink.
That's very weird.
It's so disappointing. Wow. No wonder no one bought it. No wonder there were so many of them on the shelves.
I honestly don't even understand cola. Like, what is it?
Well,
I mean, I've tasted it, but like, what is that taste? What is it?
I mean, I'll admit, I've suckled at the teat of Big Cola, and and have had for a while. Was a big soda drinker. I used to love all types of soda. I don't as much anymore. This is more of a treat than anything else. I think it's mostly water and fruit juices for me nowadays. But I think the carbonation of soda, because it's a soft drink. It's not a hard drink, right? Hard drinks are alcohol and beer, right? But beer is also carbonated, so there's a little bit of that. This is like it's just a way to replicate this weird kind of sharp, punchy flavor that you can get from carbonated alcohol that you don't get anywhere else, right? Because not a lot of drinks are carbonated, right? Iced teas and stuff. Lemonades in Europe are carbonated, but lemonades in the US aren't, right? So, they just want you to get that punch. And there's something, I don't know why it's so, I don't know. It's just something people like to do, or people like to drink. It's got that. It gives you that sugar high. It gives you that sharp, crisp taste that you don't really get from a glass of water. Like it tastes.
You don't really get it from a glass of water,
right? Like water tastes like water, but there's something crisp. Like it's hard to kind of explain, but there's that crispness, and I'm saying that over and over again because it really does feel like you're biting into like something that's just like a really like an apple that's like tough, not tough, but like just ripe enough where you just bite into it and has that snap, right? But in liquid form. Anyway, wow.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't drink soda very often, but when I do, I like cream soda. I'm just not like a big cola person. Cola's okay, but I just don't really get the flavor. It's confusing to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan anymore of like Cokes and Pepsis and all that stuff. Unless you want to sponsor us, then I'm a huge fan of Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, he'll drink lots and lots of Pepsi.
Every day. Every day I'd be drinking. I'd have it infused. I'd have like an IV bag just into my vein directly so that I can have the deliciousness of Pepsi every single day.
You can drink the soda and I'll wear the t-shirts.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, I don't get it either, I guess. I mean, it's a thing.
It's just like a mystery flavor I'll never understand.
It is. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of mystery flavors, people are mystery flavors too, and we're going to start.
So true.
As an aside, I used to pride myself in a good segue. I like thinking of segues because segues are fun, right? Because it keeps the conversation going, and it's not like some weird non sequitur. You're just like, oh, soda, by the way, relationships, right? Like, it's not just that, but I really love a good segue, and I think I'm okay at it. But boy, oh boy, does it get, it's hard when it's like talking about sometimes it's tough, but it's something I enjoy. Oh, and one other thing. I apologize, everyone, because, it was advertised. Hold on. Let me bring it down an octave. It was advertised recently that I use this voice for this show alone, and that I don't use this voice as often or enough when I talk. And I know in at least the last 2 or 3 episodes, I don't go this low an octave like I should. There was somebody who said I need to talk like this all the time. It's hard to talk like this all the time because people can't hear you at low octaves when you talk this low. People are like, what? I'm sorry? What? No, they can't hear you. So I don't have a tendency not to. So Sarah, let's take your voice low with me, shall we? As we get into the first part of the show.
I don't think I can do it.
All right.
Let's see. This is like the second go.
Yes. Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. I think we're going to.
Yeah, I was that smooth, audible chocolate.
Oh.
That was like a line from like South Park or something. No. I can't take credit for that one.
I used that on a show. I was so like, oh my God, I love that line because I used that in an intro to one of my other podcasts where it's like, give us that smooth. It's Cartman because Cartman says it, that sweet audio chocolate or whatever. Yeah, like he just says it, and I thought that was the funniest line. So I'm so happy you know that line because that brings me.
Okay, good. I thought you were like, oh my gosh.
No. What
a great line. Yeah, definitely not me. I'm glad you heard it before.
Yeah, I used that soundbite, and I have it somewhere, but I used that soundbite for an episode of my other podcast. I'm like, oh, that's such a great soundbite. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get into before this becomes like a 3-hour episode. Let's get into the first part of the questions that people have out there in the World Wide Web.
Let's start with this as a Twitter comment or a Twitter tweet.
Yeah, it trended on Twitter.
A trending Twitter tweet. They said, yes, nothing like my DoorDash delivery guy texting me after to tell me I'm pretty and having my address and number. I reported him. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. So, yeah. Well, first off, how do I put this? Have you ever worked in the service industry?
Yeah. I worked at a pizza place and I worked as a barista. Yeah. I've done like client facing jobs, like at front desks and things like that. But as far as like the food industry, mostly pizza and coffee for me.
I mean, they go together, so I don't see why not. I don't see why.
They weren't the same job, but yeah, they do. I would definitely have both.
Yeah, a bit of coffee and a pizza. A coffee and a slice. Oh, a cup and a slice. There's your next venture, folks who can start a business. Have a coffee and a cup and a slice. All right. So, have you ever been hit on in the service industry, being part of the service industry?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I like you say, of course. I've only ever worked at a movie theater, and being a man, I don't get hit on, so I don't know. I don't know if any of the women were hit on because all the staff were hitting on the women, and all the women were hitting on the staff men. So we're all hitting on each other anyway. So it didn't really quite matter because we're all horny. One of the most horniest places I've ever been to is the movie theater. So it was a little different. So you've been hit. So I don't know if that necessarily counts, but you have been hit on as a barista and as a person who served pizza.
I guess I would say that, yeah, sometimes I've been like hit on in a normal way, but also just I don't even know. Just like, flirting. Oh. But then there's also been like really creepy customers. I don't even know if you call it hitting on the person. Like when I worked at the pizza place, I was a lot of times there alone, and it was a very, very small pizza place. And I would have people come in and ask me if I was alone when I was working there. And I would lie and say I wasn't. But things like that, or I think I had a customer when I was working as a barista who was just sort of like aggressive. Mm-hmm. It was like a lot of attention. So I could tell that there was some sort of like maybe just awkwardness or not a way of knowing how to engage. But I had to just be nice and polite about it, So it's not always like hitting on like you would think, like flirting. Sometimes it's just, like a weird interaction that only happens when you're working as like the service person and you just have to like put up with it kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know, out of personal experience, and the people I've known who worked at the movie theater, I don't think has ever announced or ever talked about being hit on. So I don't know, personally, but I do know that does happen, right? People would leave their phone number on a receipt or something, or they would, leave like a note on the tip line or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be like, hey, you're a hottie. I would love to eat your pizza or something like that.
Oh my God. I never got that. I never got that on a receipt.
I'd love to sip your coffee. I,
That was not my experience. I'd like to eat your pizza.
this is why I don't flirt with anyone, because those are my lines. Okay? those are my chat-ups.
I think that would. I'm trying to think if that would have made me laugh back then. I might have just been over it at that point.
I guess it depends on, I guess, how well you know the person, because after a while you do get regulars and you do get to know them over time. And so maybe it's acceptable from, oh, that one dude who always comes by, super nice, and this is just them being funny, and you don't take it seriously. But I do think a lot of people, especially nowadays, where dating is at a minimum, hookup is at a all-time high, and people are, again, lonelier than ever.
Right.
As has been announced on all sorts of media and newspapers and stuff like that. Like, it's known that we are the loneliest we've been in a very, very long time for a bunch of different reasons. So the question then becomes, how does one flirt and how does one ask another person out nowadays in a world where face-to-face interactions are becoming less and less? I mean, I'm not saying this guy did the right thing. Don't get me wrong. Let's say this delivery person, what advice would you give this delivery person if they wanted to flirt and ask a person out that would happen to unfortunately be a customer? Or should that be a hard and fast rule for all type of service type people, is never, ever, ever ask out a customer ever?
I think with like DoorDash, just reading this example, I think this is an almost never. I would say maybe if you guys chatted a lot when you were like, delivering it and really felt there was a vibe and it was really clear you were both flirting with each other, maybe. But I mean,
but he did just say you're pretty, and that's it. I mean, just based off of this, it wasn't like he asked to go out, didn't ask for anything. Just it's like, you know what, I didn't get to tell this person, but wow, I thought they were really attractive. Does that automatically mean that they're a creep and they should be ostracized?
There's a weird connotation with it because, like she says, yeah, he knows where you live. And, like, he doesn't know you at all. But he thought you were attractive enough to, like, reach out through a venue or a method that's not appropriate for that. To just let you know that he... I don't know, like, finds you physically desirable. I mean, it can be played like that in your head. Sure. And if you like weren't having some sort of banter with them and you weren't like, I feel like if you weren't like wanting that kind of attention, I can see it making you nervous because it's just a weird way to like get that information from someone. You know that they know where you live and they don't know you at all. They just like the way you look. It's a little weird. I would say I wouldn't do it. Okay. Not that way.
So what, but he has no other method. So what should he have done? Instead, just keep it to himself, I guess, right?
Yeah. Wait until he finds someone who's pretty that he can actually talk to.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Look, I don't agree with the method that he used. I thought it's you're working, but again, I guess because you're working in a way that puts you in a very compromising position. Because people's phone numbers, people's addresses, their names, so it's easier to kind of track people down. But we're in a weird society where we trust people now. Like a lot of we trust strangers all the time because I don't know about you, but a DoorDash is something that at least I use enough. I use it enough. I don't use it all the time, but I use it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. And honestly, a lot of people it might not bother them at all, but there is a weird dynamic when in like the workplace, and usually the dynamic is actually worse for the worker. Like it's usually much more, I don't want to say threatening, but somewhere like in that direction for the worker to feel like they're put in a spot where they can't keep their privacy or their ability to have boundaries. But I think with DoorDash, I've used DoorDash, of course, and I've gotten messages from it that we're not flirting, but we're just not, they're not what like the messaging is for, and it made me feel weird. Like,
well,
I leave like
it wasn't flirting, but it was
so like I give like a really good tip, right?
Oh, okay.
And then the person messaged me and was like, could you please bring cash too? Like, my family is in a really hard time and I need more.
Oh God! Wow! No, I've never gotten that before. Oh my God! Wow! Oh, they're guilting you into more money. My goodness.
Well, and they like have my food, so if I say no, are they going to spit in it? Like, it's just a weird dynamic. Like, you can stand on the street and hold a sign to people in their car, but like if you do that on DoorDash, it's a different dynamic. It's like you actually kind of know stuff about them, or you.
That since I've never experienced that must be your area thing because I've never experienced that.
It's honestly, that one only happened once.
Oh, okay.
It was very strange to me, and I imagine that person probably does it to other people too. Though, I mean, if it's a real situation, I feel really bad for them for that situation. But I was just like, I like went back through the app. I was like, wait, I left a tip, didn't I?
But I need more.
Yeah, and I always leave like the higher tip that they tell you to leave. So I was like, this is a weird message to get.
And it also tells you on the app that 100% of the tip goes straight to the person. So they're desperate for more. They're desperately asking for like, don't just give me the amount that you put on the app. Please give me X amount. Like they were really wanting some extra money from
right. And I totally get that. Like if you're desperate, you do what you got to do, like for money and to feed your family. But just a very weird way to use the app, like message system. You know what I mean?
I do. All right. Well, to wrap it up then, because we have a couple more questions here. Does this person deserve to be fired?
Gosh, I don't know. You're really putting me on the spot for that one. I don't know. They deserve a talking to. They deserve to know not to do that anymore. Again, they need to know that that's not okay. Mm-hmm. Find some other way to date people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I don't think this person deserves to lose a job, especially if this is their one and only job. They should be. The thing is, it's an independent thing, so it's not like they have a I don't know if they do have an office to go to, or if they have like meetings or trainings or stuff like that they go through outside of maybe YouTube videos or whatever. But when I've had harassment training and all that stuff when I worked for the movie theater and for where I'm working now, like there were videos and there were pamphlets and there all that stuff. But I don't know if you get that as an independent contractor for DoorDash. But yeah, just to give you an idea, if you do find this tweet, those out there, you'll see that some people were defending this guy, saying if he were attractive, she wouldn't have had this reaction. She would have been more welcoming of the compliment if he was an attractive person. It's a very interesting and I believe both men and women were arguing this fact as well. And the only other thing I'm going to say is I heard a similar thing from many, many years ago on the radio where a police officer abused their power after giving a woman a ticket, and he left a note on her windshield the day after because he had her information. So he had to wait. He knew where she was, and she left a note. He just left a note saying, "Hey, I found you attractive. I'd love to ask you out, but I know that I'm a dumpy looking police officer or whatever. And, whatever." And I think he got fired from the job for obvious reasons, but also it was a call-in topic. So audience members were calling in saying if he was attractive, she wouldn't have done it, which is really interesting to me that seems to be a common kind of mentality for people. It's like, well, if the person's attractive, you're not going to be against a compliment, and you're going to treat the person better because they're attractive, which is very interesting.
Okay, so you might get away with it if you're attractive, but the thing you should realize is no matter how attractive you believe you are, just don't do it.
No. Again, this is just...
that's my opinion on top of all of the, was he attractive enough or not, or would she have said yes or no? Yeah, attractive people get away with breaking the rules sometimes more because they're attractive. It does happen.
Yeah.
But there should just be like the rule, like with the DoorDash guy, they should say, hey, that's not okay. You can't do that anymore. The texting is only for this. Don't be sending stuff to the clients.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter, like, if she would have said yes if he was attractive, because even if he's attractive, he still shouldn't be doing it,
No, I agree. I 100% agree on that one. I just find it funny that was the consensus a decade ago, and it's a consensus now for people.
Same argument.
Same argument. And I'm like, I guess that's true. I mean, again, yeah, you're right. People get away with being a lot of stuff with being attractive. So it just a funny little anecdote to just notice, like, oh, people are still arguing the looks department. But anyway, speaking of looks, though, interestingly enough, let's talk about this next one.
Another segue, a perfect segue. I was waiting for you to do that one because it's the same kind of thing. I was like, here comes the segue.
I try.
Okay, so this question is, my girlfriend is way more attractive than me. So much so that I am constantly thinking about how one day she'll get tired of me and be able to find any number of better looking and more confident guys to be with. Even though she says she loves me for me, and I do trust her, I can't stop feeling anxious about it.
Is this person me? I mean, this is every person I've ever been with. This is how I feel. Oh. Do you feel you've ever been with a man who was more attractive than you?
Oh,
hello.
Attractiveness is so subjective. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's like objective attractiveness where like someone could be like an underwear model, like that attractive. And honestly, I'm not interested in like celebrity pretty attractive guys, or like magazine pretty kind of guys. So the people I date, I find them attractive because they're like normal people attractive, and I really like that. They're like really good looking but not like super pretty. So I don't know, maybe pretty is like a preference for some people, and I'm just not really into the really pretty guys kind of look. Nothing wrong with it if you're a pretty guy. I'm sure you're not hurting, but also don't hate on yourself. But yeah, I've dated someone who was
conventionally considered more like, oh, well, this is like he's almost model-esque.
He was a little bit closer to like, he was getting close to pretty. He wasn't too pretty for me, but he was getting there. Mm-hmm. But he had a lot of like down to earth stuff that like, made him attractive to me in those ways. And I don't know that I had the same problem this guy has, where I was like, he's so attractive that he'll just find someone prettier than me. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I don't know. Have you felt that way?
Oh, my ex-wife.
You were anxious that she was.
Oh, the moment I talked, the moment she said she would be my girlfriend way back when, I was like, why? There's so many more attractive people. I even told her that the moment we're like a thing, it's like, you do realize there's way more attractive people out there, right? Like, you don't have to be with me. I'm pretty much bottom of the barrel. You could easily get someone way better than me. But no, she, at the vast majority of our relationship was very much like, yeah, no, I love you. And yeah, no, I think you're good looking, and I want to be with you, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, but you don't have, I'm like, but you look the way you look. Like, why? And so that was something I dealt with for a long time, and it was not complicated, but it only reaffirmed my anxiety when she was hit on quite often, or she would get like treated differently and get free stuff and all that stuff. Like she like had, she had advantages to her looks. Mm-hmm. People noticed her. Again, when I had in this, I don't know if I say it so often, I don't often remember when I've said this story, but like, the relationship ended, and I lost a lot of my male friends because a lot of my male friends were interested in her. Mm-hmm. So they were more interested in her than they were interested in knowing I was okay. So I lost a lot of male friends that way. Mm-hmm. But that showed to me like, oh yeah, she was attractive enough to garner a lot of attention and a lot of notice. And so I was it was very tough. And I'm pretty sure I didn't help things by letting her know my anxiety for it and letting her know that this is how I felt. And I was thinking, like, I'm not that great. Like, I'm funny and I'm this and I'm that, but I'm not much of anything else, you know. But she, you know, we stuck it out for what is considered a long time. And so, it wasn't a trust thing or it wasn't anything. It was just like, oh yeah, she's like I batted way above my average or whatever. Like I was just, I don't know what I did or what I said, but yeah, it was a very unique scenario in that case. Now, so I feel for this person who has that, and it's a tough thing to kind of accept over time, but over the years I did accept it, because I mean she wasn't going anywhere at the time, so I'm like, oh, okay, so obviously I'm offering something that she finds valuable, in which she doesn't actively try to seek other people. She obviously finds something in me that she wants to stay with. I mean, over time that faded, obviously, but at least at that moment it's like, oh great, thank you. Yeah, I'm like, thank you. Thanks for staying with me. You didn't have to, but it was, So, I find that it's tough, but I am also, I see people online all the time though, who are like, there is a disparity in looks between men and women, oftentimes where the woman is more attractive than the man. And I think it's just, again, men are very visual, they like attractive things, I guess. And women find what's attractive is the person themselves versus what they look on the outside, which is why dad bod is a thing, right? Like women like the dad bod.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I think you're right. Like I do find, my current boyfriend, then I've had some other boyfriends that I found to be very attractive. And I've dated some people that were less attractive, but like, he's very photogenic. And I did I dated that guy who was kind of prettier than I usually date. I usually date maybe like a little bit more manly attractive and less like, pretty attractive. But I think what you're saying makes sense for women, because I have sort of a similar insecurity, but I'm more worried that their personality is so good that they're going to be able to do better than me. Like, they are very attractive and they're attracted to me. And I know other people probably notice them for sure, but if I'm feeling insecure in relationships, which I have before, I might think they're so great all over. And, what do I have to offer, when I'm feeling insecure? And I totally get that. But even when I'm feeling that way, I know that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That, if you let them know that you are constantly worried about this and there's nothing they can do to reassure you or let you know how great they think you are, and you just will never believe it. It's like the person you're always giving compliments to who won't accept them. Eventually, you just stop giving them compliments,
True. Yeah. And one of the key important things that you do in a relationship is you don't let down on that stuff, because, at the moment it gets stale, things can happen, and relationships take work. And that's part of it, I think, is working on yourself and working on your confidence and understanding that they're with you for a reason, right? Like, people are with each other for a reason. They don't have to. Everyone has a choice to make. They can easily make any decision that they want in that relationship, even if they're married. Obviously, like, it doesn't matter. You're married, unless you guys are essentially like sewn together from the at the hip. There's no real reason that they can't just move on from you. There's not at least not a compelling one outside of, again, you have to understand that, you're worth it and you're a good person and they're there for that reason, or whatever reason it is. Or you're rich and you're wealthy and that's why. Or you're the Red Power Ranger, like we talked about the last time. Whatever the reasons may be. You just have to believe in that. And yeah, confidence is tough. Self-confidence is really some of the hardest things to accomplish in yourself. Having that self-esteem, that really is healthy self-esteem. That's probably one of the hardest things. I think that is, that's to accomplish. That's something you can accomplish because people, I think, are, especially nowadays, are just very much down on themselves because the world is down on everyone. The internet is down on everyone. The thing you'll find the most online are insults and put downs, and you're not going to see a lot of people lifting each other up. So it can be tough in a world that lives off of likes and retweets and hearts and all that stuff that we find online, right? Like a lot of us do live on that stuff. And it's unfortunate because we didn't used to before. We used to be perfectly fine just not living off that stuff. But nowadays, that's where we get our dopamine hit, and it sucks.
Well, yeah. Also, like the self-confidence, that can make up so much for whatever physical unattractiveness you think you have. Like, physical attraction is a big thing for sure, but I mean, you can have like any amount of confidence you want, and there's like a certain amount where what you look like physically just doesn't even really matter anymore.
Yeah.
So, and it's really hard to build it when you don't have it there to begin with. But if you can figure it out, and maybe, and I shouldn't be like giving this advice because I'm probably not going to follow it myself, but maybe you have to get off of social media or do some things for yourself to like get rid of the negativity. But yeah, it's a tough world, with the social media and everything.
I was, my current YouTube obsession, at least for the last couple of days, was people who are building homes off the grid. And all of the so far, the 3 or 4 videos I've watched where they built homes off the grid away from everything was like, the world is tough. We know it. The past couple of years have shown that the world is really difficult. So we escaped it all by living in the middle of nowhere in a cabin away from everyone. Right. And, either it's a couple or a guy and his dog or something, and they're just out in the middle of nowhere building their own homes, like escaping everything. And I think to myself, wow, that's actually a really good idea. I like not necessarily doing that, but like just kind of escaping and turning that part of the world off, right?
Yeah,
the world continues outside of you turning it off.
Definitely. You could do that. You could just delete the apps. I mean, that's a little bit easier than going off the grid, but there's also other benefits going off the grid. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we can just turn some of that off.
Yeah, no, the recommendation is to find a plot of, because these people, they found a plot of land. And they just like bought this plot of land in the middle of nowhere, and they built a home there. And they had like this one guy has chickens and sheep and has like a self-sustaining like home that he built himself.
Cool.
Everything he built himself. And I was just like, I can't do that.
Yeah, homesteading is not easy.
No, it isn't. But anyway, speaking of really complicated and kind of a little all over the place, we have at least one more person who has of a complicated life, don't we?
The chickens and goats of his life have gotten out of the paddock.
Oh,
all right.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. Let's see what it says.
That's the real segue right there. I like it.
Okay. When I first met my girlfriend, we told each other that we were single and hit it off, and then I had to go on a business trip for a month. We hadn't become exclusive yet, so we had a long-distance, unofficial relationship that was a very intimate connection. When I got back home, we decided to become a couple officially. But now, a few months later, she told me that when I first met her, she had a boyfriend. She said that she was getting ready to break up with him anyway, and she did break up with him a few days before I flew home, but they were together most of the time that she and I were talking on my trip. So I was under the false impression that she was single, and she was cheating on her boyfriend. She said she has never cheated before this and offered to give me the passwords to her phone and social media accounts so I can feel secure that she's not cheating on me. She also told me her relationship with her ex was very toxic and she had been wanting to leave him before she even met me. I love her, I just don't know if I can trust her.
Oh dear.
Well,
what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Okay, this is against conventional wisdom. I do actually know at least one couple, I'm just going to say off the bat, at least one really solid, great couple that did start when one of them wasn't single. So I'm just going to say that sometimes people are in a bad relationship and they do meet someone else and it's not great. Sometimes it works out. It should not happen that way. It was actually a very complicated thing when it happened the way in the couple that I know. I'm just saying that just because you met someone when they were with someone else and then they left them for you doesn't mean the relationship's doomed or that they will cheat on you. That being said, she wasn't honest about it. She told this guy that she was single in the beginning. And this was a very quick thing. She did not have to be keeping this a secret, and she did not have to cheat on, her ex. And I know this other couple I'm talking about. I'm not saying that it's okay and great. I'm just saying that there are situations where it can work. So what she did was not good, and there was some trust issues here, but I don't think it's a definite no-go, in my opinion. I think there's just some things to consider. It's not an obvious no to me.
We were on a break! Thank you, Ross, from Friends. Yeah, look, aside from the Friends reference, which I had to make sure I was yelling away from the mic, otherwise it would kill this microphone. My second favorite movie in the entire world next to Jurassic Park is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. In the movie, he is dating a 17-year-old high school student, which is a joke in the film, but ends up falling in love with a woman who is the girl of her dreams because she literally appears in his dreams because it's a shortcut through the space-time continuum to get from place to place, because she is an Amazon delivery person. So it's easier for her to use his head to get from one place to another because it's faster. Anyway, but that's the premise of the movie, is this character, Scott Pilgrim, is dating a character before he falls in love with the titular main female character. And there's a lot of complication to it. Now, it's a lot darker in that one. It's darker in the sense of like there's a lot more the miscommunication and a lot more distrust because he is actually a terrible person. He's a good person, but he's a terrible person as well. Like, people like him, but there's just something really awful about him because he's lazy and and really the reason why he didn't break up with his ex-girlfriend was he was lazy. It wasn't that he was, it wasn't really that's kind of the premise behind it. It's like, well, I don't want to, it's hard, I don't really want to. And he's just he's a slacker, and he's really and he has to learn responsibility, and he has to learn, like, it's a coming of age type of movie. Anyway. So I'm familiar with this just in cinema form, at the very least, that this stuff happens. And I also agree with you, Sarah. I agree that this is not a deal breaker. The fact that she did not immediately say that she was in a relationship and did lie that she was single, I think I kind of more excuse it to, like, her foot was out the door. I don't think she, based on the rest of it, she didn't really consider herself in a relationship anyway, because she was like, I don't want this. I'm leaving this. This is not the thing that I want in my life. And then happens to find a person who fits, her needs and fits the things that she's looking for in a healthy relationship. Well, I mean, who knows if it's a healthy, we're going to assume it's a healthy relationship, right? We're going to assume that it went well. Hopefully, crossing fingers, you never know. So we don't know, right? And so she being already one foot out the door, to me, is just like, okay, I get it, right? Like, just like Ross being on a break, he was temporarily not dating someone mentally, even though maybe she believed it, even though Rachel believed it. Oh God, I hope I'm saying names I hope people have watched Friends, and so I'm not saying just random names. Who's Ross? Who's Rachel? They're characters in a TV show from the 90s, the 2000s. But yeah, like, Rachel didn't really know, but Ross was like, whatever. I had a friend of mine who did the exact same thing. With someone for many, many years, decided to take a break, ended up being with someone else, and then ended up sleeping with his ex anyway and getting her pregnant, and therefore having to dump the girl that was actually better for him, which was unfortunate. Yeah.
Messy.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the world is messy, I guess. But yeah. It was that was a very complicated situation and unfortunate. And I think he would have definitely been much better off with the other girl because being a bystander at the time, I was like, oh, this other person's toxic. This other person's great. I hope he stays with the other person. But again, opportunity. Unfortunately, he did live with his ex at the time because he didn't have anywhere else to live, and so opportunity knocked, I guess.
Ah, shoot.
And so things happened.
Oh,
yeah. So it's unfortunate, but there you go. He was despite the fact that there was a second relationship. It wasn't really a second relationship. He was out on his own, venturing on his own, even though they were kind of canoodling together, showing off that ankle.
Yeah, that's just a very messy situation.
It is messy.
I already said that, but it is.
Yeah, and it totally was. And I feel it's tough because I don't think he's been happy ever since. But maybe he has. I don't know. Maybe things have turned around. I haven't talked to the guy in a while, but in this particular case, I think that this person can trust. I think that the fact that she is going overboard to here, see all of my stuff. Look, it's that lapse of judgment thing, right? It's a lapse of judgment. She should have said something. And in reality, she should have said, hey, I'm with somebody, and explained the situation. Like, I'm with someone, but they're terrible and I want to break up with them and you're awesome. And I'd really love to get to know you and to be, whatever. And I think you're so much better than this guy over here. If that happened, I still think this all could have been avoided. But she decided to, because I'm certain in her head, of course I'm just speculating here. In her head, she's like, oh, I don't know. Here's this guy, really cute, really fun to be around. I don't want to scare him off by saying that I'm breaking up with my boyfriend, or that I'm on the outs, but I still am with them because I haven't done it yet. I don't want them to go away. I want to keep this person around. How do I do that? Oh, I'm single, and just say that, and just say, well, I'm essentially, and in her mind, probably reasoning, oh, I'm single anyway. I'm going to be single by the time all of this kind of blows over. So I'm essentially single right now. So I'll just say I'm single. And look, she didn't necessarily have to tell this guy either, because it's not like he was going to find out.
Yeah, that's true. There's something we said about her, explaining things and, going so, like you said, so over the top and helping him trust. And that kind of shows that she understands that she created this insecurity, that she did something that would cause someone to have trust issues. And she's willing to go above and beyond to give him security there. I think it'd be good for him to communicate with her how he feels about the fact that she did lie about being single, because yes, it's kind of like a weird situation where she did something she shouldn't have done really, but it was the beginning of maybe a really great relationship, and maybe her feelings sort of took over a little bit and took over her better judgment. And that's not an excuse, but it doesn't make it necessarily the worst offense someone could do. So I think it would be great for him to talk to her and just be like, look, I'm really not okay with how this went down. I do love you and I want to work things out, but I need to express how I feel about these things, because I want to be really clear that makes me very uneasy.
Yeah.
And she probably agrees. She's probably like, yeah, I would never, you don't have to worry. And she's basically saying you don't have to worry about me cheating. But it's just good to get everything out in the open now that, you know how it went down, to make sure that you guys are on the same page and make sure it really was just a one-time weird situation.
And I think the way that she presented it, I believe someone doesn't normally go that far to prove themselves worthy if they weren't. Again, it just happened to be her passion ruled her reason, and she was more into like, hey, I gotta get on his D faster than I need to get rid of this one.
Oh my God. Gotta get on that D before it gets away.
Right? Oh, come on.
That's how we all talk when you guys aren't around.
That's why ladies go to the restroom in pairs, so they can talk about the D.
We gotta talk about all the D out there.
Oh boy. All right. Well. If you would like to insert your story or someone else's story that you've heard from some other person, maybe you don't want to be put yourself on the spot, but you want to put someone else on the spot and give them anonymously, like, hey, I know someone who did this thing.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah. My friend really wanted that D, so I'm just gonna let you know.
I'm asking for a friend who wants some D, not me.
Yeah. Not me. I've
got plenty of D. It's for my friend.
Yeah. I'm full of D right now. I'm just full of the D right now. Everywhere, just D'd up. Anyway, God. But if you want to be that person for some weird reason, if I haven't convinced you otherwise, go ahead and send an email to IsThisLovePod@gmail.com, and you can let us know whether you want the D or the V, but not the VD. That's V. Bad. Don't get the VD, but get the V or the D separately. I just gave Sarah a thumbs up thinking that you all could see it. But anyway.
Good job, Francis.
Yeah, now she keeps back at me. Yes. We're thumbing up each other up. This is great. This is why we do it. This is why we have all this. One of these days we'll do this live and you're going to be like, what the hell is wrong with these two people? And maybe you'll understand when you just see us laughing at each other the entire time. But, all right. Well, let's wrap today's episode up with an article. We have quite a few to choose from. Curious which one you are interested in talking about. We could even go, from our little article pool at the top. Anyone, dealer's choice, which is Sarah right now.
I'm the dealer.
You're the dealer.
Okay. I actually really liked this one you posted that was 4 keys to a drama-free relationship from Psychology Today.
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of Psychology Today because I studied psychology in college, so that's where my degree is in. So I like this stuff. This is my jam. This is why I like relationship stuff, is because it's totally my jam. I didn't want to do, I was technically on the road to be a marriage and family therapist. You know, that was gosh. That was like that was my path for a while. And then I don't know what happened, but, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of glad I didn't go that route. I feel like I don't know how I could handle it personally, having to hear. Really? That's a lot of damaged relationships. I can barely maintain my own, you know, so I can barely get into I can barely get into relationships. I can maintain them. I can barely handle it when it's over. Like I can't handle any. So it's like having to deal with other people and their problems like that. I don't know if I can necessarily do it in a mass scale. Individually, one by one, like every once in a while, easy. But if I had to like 5 people in a day tell me how miserable their relationships are and their life is, I don't know if I can handle it. That'd be a little too much for me. But,
yeah, that's true.
You know what though? We don't like drama. So we have these 4 keys to a drama-free relationship. What would be key number 1 in this case?
You want to manage your toxic thoughts about your partner.
Oh, that's tough.
Impossible.
I didn't say it was impossible. We're learning about Sarah's inner thoughts right now.
Oh no. I'm just revealing too much about myself.
All right. So managing your toxic, you seem to be very honest about things that you're anxious about, things that you have trouble with sometimes. I would think that this is something that you may potentially have to handle. I don't know. Do you handle managing your own toxic thoughts about your partner?
Well, I don't know that I have a ton of toxic thoughts about him. I think I have my own insecurities that are definitely about anxiety. And I guess, yeah, sometimes maybe I kind of like project them onto him. You know, I might think like, oh, he might be mad at me right now because, we texted something earlier and I'm anxious that that's something that might make him mad. And, I haven't heard from him in a while. He's angry with me right now. And that hasn't been really an issue, in a while, but I've had those kind of thoughts like before with a significant other. And that can be kind of one way my anxiety goes. I think that it is a big part of managing anxiety to realize that your thoughts are just thoughts and they aren't necessarily reality. And I think because I've worked on that a lot, I don't have that issue quite as badly anymore where I have like toxic thoughts about my partner because I am and have done a lot of work to realize that what I'm thinking and feeling right now isn't necessarily what's really happening, maybe just give it like a day or two if you're really intensely focused on something bad.
Right. It's not a reflection because I was going to say it's not a reflection of your partner, but oftentimes those toxic thoughts come up because we feel like we can read the other person's mind, right? Like we, who get into relationships to explain off behavior or to explain off, and not necessarily bad behavior, just any type of behavior. It could be just like, why didn't they text me right now? I just texted them right now. And why is it taking them hours? Or why is, what are they doing? Why aren't they telling me what they're doing? Like all of these thoughts can hit your head, especially if you have that lower self-esteem or if you feel insecure. And your brain just starts throwing in all of these thoughts like, are they dead? Sometimes I think that,
right.
like,
yeah.
Oh my God, did they die? Like, I know they went out. Did they get into a car accident? I know it's raining over there. Oh my God. And all these thoughts pop into your head. And in reality, they'll message you and be like, oh yeah, sorry, I had a hard time with this. Or, this thing happened. Oh, the power went out. And all of these happen. And then all those thoughts just kind of wash away. And then when they're gone again, they just start creeping right back up.
Right.
Like a sponge.
Yeah. I think the toxic thoughts really happen too when like you keep these thoughts about them, maybe they're mad at me and you just keep that playing in your head over time throughout the relationship. And then you start like even getting defensive in your head and you're like, well, they have no right, they're like this, or, you're kind of like building up a thing in your head of how they are. And what they think, like you said, you're mind reading for them. And they're behaving this way because they're like this and it's a bad thing. And I think you do have to manage those thoughts. You do have to actually do the work to manage them. Yeah.
And also communicate.
And communicate, of course.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's the next one?
Do random acts of kindness. And that is like nice things for your partner, not just the world.
Yeah. You slip them a 20. No.
After sex.
Thanks, babe. Here's 100. And here's
Go
an
ahead
extra
and
50 for that.
Take the nice Uber home.
Yeah. Here, take Uber XL on the way home. All right.
Yeah,
take Uber Black. Why don't you? Yeah. No, not that. But something you can do, like again, maybe breakfast in bed, getting them that thing that they mentioned randomly on a whim when you're out, getting them that thing, or just doing something that they don't request, but it's something that they enjoy. Doing those things reminds them that you're thinking about them and that you care about them. Some of the examples here was give them a 10 to 20 minute back massage, or pick them up something they like to snack on. Like, seriously, it's as easy as that. Get their favorite food, get their favorite snack, their favorite candy, favorite potato chip. If your partner likes soda, get them a soda. But if it's Sarah, get her a glass of water, apparently. But don't take her cup. If you guys don't run away with her mug or her cup though. If you guys ever get into an argument,
the water bottle.
Don't run away with that. Just. Oh no, I'm making our show serialized because you're gonna have to listen to the last couple of episodes. But
what episode was that from?
It's got to be 2 at least. But yeah, or more. But yeah, no, don't do little things like that. Call them the every once in a while. If you're away, just randomly be like, hey, I've been thinking about you, or hey, what you wearing?
Oh,
well, I mean, why not?
Is that an act of kindness for them, or is that for you?
Oh. Well, wait a minute. Whoa. Hopefully for both. Hopefully you're not just like, hopefully intimacy isn't just you laying there. Like, all right, fine.
No, I know.
Well, you guys both find each other sexy. But yeah. But no, you're mostly for the guy. No, mostly for the one asking for the clothing picture. I think they're getting the kick out of it for sure. Or whatever, the what are you wearing thing. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I said a lot on there. Anything to add there, Sarah?
Oh, I thought those were good. Yeah, like writing them a little note or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the best at this stuff because I don't know. I'm really bad at like gift buying, you know?
Here's what you should do though. This is what if I were in a relationship with someone who had your talent, the best gift they could possibly give me is art.
Oh,
seriously. Like, that would be the sweetest thing to me personally. If I got if my significant other was an artist, you just draw something that reminded them of me, right? Show that they were thinking of me. Boom, done. So before your boyfriend listens to this episode, draw him something. I guarantee you.
Well, he does really appreciate my hand-drawn cards, so that is a good thing. Yeah.
There you go.
I just like when people say you should pick something up for your significant other that they like. I would probably do the candy because I'm really bad at like buying gifts. That's, it's their favorite little trinket. I'm terrible at that kind of thing. I would do gifts, or I also like cards, notes, calling people, and the hand-drawn stuff he really likes a lot.
So look, I've always been really easy. Just a note, a letter, and I never have to be bought anything because I don't need anything. I don't need to be bought anything, right? For me, it's really simple, Like I said, if I knew someone who knew art, a drawing. If I knew someone who could write anything that showed off a thing that they're good at, and they focused it on me for some reason, then that's all I need now. And every person's different. And they want the gift, of course, go for the gift. But if it's someone like me, think outside the box sometimes for your significant other. They may just want something that's creative or something that's not a purchased item, and you can go that extra step and do that. All right. What's number 3 here?
Let's see here. Watch out for problematic alcohol or drug use. And the thing with this is because it can lower your inhibitions so you can say stuff to start drama.
This one I'm a little more I shrug more than anything because some people that loosens them up and that just makes it more fun and it just makes the evening more entertaining. and there's no drama, and there's just like everything's better, you know.
If there's like some bad stuff happening because of drug use and alcohol in your relationship, I think that's like a step beyond just drama, you know, like that's maybe another basket of crackers.
I don't think they're talking about abuse, though. They're talking about, I think, just recreational use in this case, right? So or do you think it's abuse in this case?
I'm like trying to imagine a situation. I don't think I've ever been with someone who didn't have a substance abuse issue where, like, because we were drinking or something, it caused us to like be mean to each other, or I don't know. It's a weird situation to imagine for me.
Yeah, I like I said, it's also weird for me because I mean I don't know too many people who do any type of. I mean, I'm the only person who apparently doesn't drink or do any type of drug. Everyone else does, and I'm like, man, I don't have a tattoo. Everyone else has tattoos. I don't drink. I don't do any type of drug use. You know, not that I'm not open to it. I just haven't done it. But like, you know, like not heroin.
Oh my God! Don't start with that one.
I'm starting for the top. No. I mean, like, you know,
work your way down.
Then I'm just taking an aspirin. That's like that's my drug of choice is an aspirin. No, I don't know that.
Sweet aspirin.
Why'd you take that Tylenol? Well, let me tell you something, and just start drama from a Tylenol tablet. Like, oh man.
Yeah, my boyfriend gets real mean when he takes an ibuprofen.
Yeah. Why are you so tired? Stop being so tired. You know, maybe it's problematic if they're drinking Zima or something, or a thing that tried to come back and then quickly disappeared again because it's an awful alcohol. But anyway. Anyway, so yeah, again, not the abuse part, but if it does lead to drama, yeah, of course, yeah. Just, I think that's more a rare case. I think more often people unwind that way through recreational drug use and recreational alcohol. So I'm not against either. All right. So what's the last one then?
Lead with empathy for calm, constructive conversations.
Empathy. Ooh, that's a hard one. How many people do you know? Well, no, how many people?
I know it's not difficult for you.
Well, no. I mean, okay, yeah. Look, I feel everyone's feelings because I'm messed up in my own way. But empathy is actually really difficult for some people because it's really is thinking outside of yourself, right? Part of empathy is being able to understand where a person is coming from, why they're feeling the way they're feeling. And that's really hard because when you're feeling it, you're feeling something. Like if you're both angry, it's hard to see from their point of view why they're angry, right? And understand where they're coming from. Because you're angry. All you know is that they did something wrong and it's their fault, as opposed to thinking, well, maybe it's something I did. What could we have done differently? I understand that, you know, they're upset because I did this thing. I know I shouldn't. I know that's bad. Like, it's hard to think that way because that means we're vulnerable as a people, right? You're empathetic, but you have empathy too. Don't act as if I'm the only one. You're a little less empathetic.
I do. It's just because you said, "Oh, that's hard." I know. I'm like, it's not hard for you. I'm the same. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But luckily, we're two people who I think have had enough life experience to where we develop that skill of empathy. Like we developed that skill and that understanding of other people's emotions.
It's an interesting thing. I think that empathy, I think a lot of it for most people develops like in childhood.
It does.
So if you aren't an empathetic person, if you've developed different like survival and coping skills that aren't empathy, I wonder how hard it is to learn empathy as an adult. I have no idea, but I think that you're right that in the heat of the moment, it's very hard to be empathetic when you're flooded with your emotions and like anger. So yes, empathetic, calm, constructive conversations are great, but I think in order to get there, there's even tools before that, like taking a few deep breaths and counting to 10 and saying like, let's have this conversation in an hour or tomorrow when we both cool down.
Right.
I think getting to that, being able to do that can get you to the empathetic, constructive conversations so that you don't have to try to have this superhuman amount of empathy in the moment that you just want to like rip your hair out and scream at the person.
Right. But having empathy is what gets you to that, knowing that you need to take that time away, taking that time off. That empathy often is also understanding that emotions are high and recognizing it and understanding that, there are two people with very intense feelings at this moment. And someone has to take control and be like, okay, no, wait, look, let's take a break or let's sleep on it or whatever, even though they say don't sleep angry. But sometimes you just need a nap or food or whatever, something that kind of, right? Maybe you're hangry, you never know. But you need these things that put you in a calmer place, and then you can handle the situation better. But yeah, it's tough. I do think empathy is tough because I at least from what I see around me, people are very against kind of other people's feelings. They don't care as long as their feelings are the ones that dominate. And this is something I see online often. This is why online arguments are so prominent, because people are just like, no, your feelings are invalid. Mine are valid. Right. That's a lot of the, right. That's a lot of the argument. It's like, no, your feelings mean nothing. My feelings are everything. And I get why that is, but that doesn't solve anything. That doesn't fix anything. And that doesn't make the situation better. So that's why empathy is important, because nothing changes if you don't communicate and, have that understanding. Ugh.
What's really funny is like, I totally know what you're talking about when people like argue online.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed sometimes like you'll see an argument where they're going at each other, and then one person says like, I'm sorry. I think I misspoke. What I meant to say was this. No, you're right. And all of a sudden it switches over. The other person's like, no, I'm sorry. I was in a bad mood. I don't know why I said that. And it's just like, as soon as one person gives a little bit, like both people are like totally kind to each other. We're such crazy, strange creatures.
I wish it would happen more often that way. That would be amazing. I would be a much happier person on the internet if that happened regularly. Unfortunately, I don't know if that, I have seen that happen though. No, you're right. I have seen that happen. I wish it wasn't as rare as it is, but boy, oh boy, is it great to see like, oh, and then someone, of course, at the end will always say, oh, I love it when two people can like, be reasonable. Yeah. And there's always that one that third observer being like, oh, bravo, the two of you are coming to a conclusion and being, mature about it. It's like, thanks, guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's just so happy. He's just basking in love.
Yeah. I do love that. Yeah, no, we need more of that for sure. All right. Well, there you go. High note. Thank you for putting us on a high note at the very end, because that's very true. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So what have we learned today? We learned that Pepsi Nitro is garbage. We also learned that empathy can be difficult for some people. And we learned that you too can send your questions and your responses and your theories and your feelings to IsThisLovePod@gmail.com. Yes, it's just like that Whitesnake song. You've been listening to it all day. I know you have. IsThisLovePod for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You go there. You like it. You love it.
You will like it.
You will like it. Thumbs up it. All that stuff. And most importantly, if you liked anything we've been doing, if you enjoyed the show, episode 5, this is episode 6 now, right? So you're 6 episodes in. You listen to all 6 episodes. You're like, wow, these guys are pretty good. And you're like, what can I do to show my support, to show that I like them? All you do, go onto the podcatcher of your choice, iTunes, Spotify, Google, whatever, and leave a review. The moment you leave a review is the moment that people see it, and that will grow our audience, and that will grow our people and more people will ask questions and we'll be able to do more as we get more people in. And that's the goal, right? Is to solve the world's love problems. That's our whole goal, you know. Like Sarah's like,
oh no, is that the goal? It's so much more responsibility than I thought it was.
I know. The world's problems are on our shoulders, Sarah. We must save. No, but you know, we want to be able to, if you like the kind of advice we give or you think that our outlook on life is relatable, funny, entertaining, go ahead and please leave a review. We'd love it. 5 stars. Let people know how great the show is. And that's it. Thanks for listening. SincerSarcasm.net is the website. Go there. And you guys are awesome. Please, do your best to stay healthy, stay safe, and learn to rub each other's backs every once in a while for like 20 to 30 minutes, according to the do a little something for each other, you know. Get that back scratcher, that person that I promised Sarah but never gave her. Get a back scratcher. Yeah, I'm gonna get her back scratcher, you know.
Yeah, you promised.
I know. Well, next time I'm up, I'm going to go and get you back. I'll have a back scratcher intel. But anyway, bye everyone. We'll talk to you all next time.